Hello all. Before we begin the video, let's discuss CloudFoundation. CloudFoundation is the premier online training platform to help individuals and organizations gain knowledge and skills in the ever-growing cloud computing industry.
Whatever you're doing, right? So let's say, if I go and create a new sales order, and if the script is deployed on sales order, it will give me a complete object or a complete snapshot of that record, and then, using that record, we can set value, we can get value, we can, add lines or anything we can do. So what we're doing here, we got context.newRecord. It gave us the complete record object, which we using a variable called customer record, and then using customer record, which is a record variable or record object, we are setting a field value for record dot set value, phone field, and ID is phone, and then values this. So I'll tell you how this API works. So we have record dot get when. Sorry, I'm typing somewhere, okay. Record dot get value. The field. Then you have a field ID, okay. And then you have value. This is how the API looks, right? So record.getValue, then you pass first. First parameter is field ID, second parameter is value. So we can instead of putting these in this format, we can directly pass the field ID and value here, or we can, if you really want to follow the process, we can have field ID as, and then the field ID, and then value is the value. So now we are using the same API instead of record. We have the record object here, which is customer record. Then we are setting, for it is not get value, set value, yeah. So we are setting the field value, and then we are passing the field ID as phone, which is the field internal ID, and then we have the value, which is this value, and that what we'll do. It will try to set the phone number field to this value as soon as we load the record. It is a parameter, which we can call it as an object, but it actually captures the entire snapshot of the record you're accessing, the user who is accessing it, along with the timestamp. So you can what we can get out of this thing, I think is here also. If you see these comments right. So in the script, on the context of script context, what it gives us a new record snapshot. It gives us an old record snapshot, the trigger type, how you're triggering it, create or edit or exit it or anything. Then you can have user ID information, user role. We have timestamps, so all that information can be retrieved using the same parameter, which is you can call it, name it as script, context or context, it does not matter. Now what we are doing in this script is we are getting the new record, which is the record we are creating or editing the new value, and then we are putting it in, taking it into a variable called customer record, which is a record object, and then we are setting a field value. So what happens is you'll understand. Let's talk about an edit scenario. Now, when you click on edit and you make some changes right now, in terms of database, there are two snapshots. One which was there before edit and one which is there after edit. Let's say, if I change some field value so that the old snapshot, and the new snapshot will be captured using old record and new record. So right now, this context.newRecord is giving us the new snapshot which you are getting in case once you click on edit, and after that if you're making any changes in case of create. There is no old snapshot, there is only new record. Okay, here this is an additional condition. If event type is not created, it is not equals to create, then it is being returned, then we not even execute that. This is being executed only in case of create. That is an additional condition, just for testing. If you don't want to keep it, it's fine, let it. Let it run on for all event types, doesn't matter. Which means what we are trying to do. If we are creating a new customer, then we are defaulting the phone number to this. If we are editing an existing customer, we are not doing anything. Basically, that is what it means. Okay, this is our before load function. Now in the before submit, I'll just cover all three functions. What we're doing, a small example only, and then we'll try to deploy this in a suite and see how it behaves now in before submit. What we are doing. We are setting first thing. We are setting a field value which we can do in before load also. But additionally what we are doing, we are validating. We are putting away the validation if the category value is a field called category. If the value is not available, then we are throwing an error saying please enter category. This is an additional validation. Let's say what we do. A very general example. Let's say you have a on the customer record. Let's say we have what we use in business cases. Let's say we have a credit limit, right? So let's say we have on customers. We have credit limit based on credit limit only. We can run that with them. Like if the credit limit is there for like $10,000. So we can run that only $10,000. Now let's say I want to put a custom validation. That if the credit limit is not available for a customer, then don't allow them to save the record. Okay, now what we do. As soon as you're creating a customer, and you click on Save, it should perform that validation. If the credit limit field value is blank, then it should throw an alert or error, or it should. You can create an error, or you can just throw a message which will be captured in the logs, saying that your credit limit is not available, and then you should enter it. Okay, so that is what we are doing here, but there are two things we are not in. If you see this case, we are not. We are throwing or we are creating an error, which is okay. In this case, we are evaluating category fields. We can use any other field when we will test the site, and then we are throwing an error, or creating an error. Then creates, enter a category. So this will be captured in the log. As with the log type of error, so in the log also, since I think I've already told about that to Kishore. So log also. You have category. You can have debug logs. We can have like any other system. We can have debug logs. We can have error logs. We can have audit logs and system logs. So system logs will be there, or, naturally will create it on its own. There are any system errors? Error logs is something you use. Log.error or error.create. If we are creating an error and then logged out, debug will be used to. Enter a debug log and then, similarly, we have logged on audit to enter an audit log. So we have category of logs available. Whichever is required in a particular case, when you're writing a script, you can use the right API. So there's a log module. If you see, here we must have defined OK, not using here right. But in the other example, when I was showing you the template, we have logs separately available as a module. Now again. So what you understood this part right? Again, the same thing we are doing. If it is not create, then return, which means we are valid. We are putting in this before submit, also only in case of create. We are setting a field value for comments, and then we are checking. If the category is not available, then throw an error. It will throw an error saying that please enter a category. So in this case, what will happen? We are throwing an error. Categories available. To make sure that the category is available. In this case, when let's say the category is not there, an error comes, what will happen? The database commit will not happen because the error came before the database commit could happen. Because we have written this logic and before submit, I think I spoke about that in the earlier session, right? The difference between before submit and after submit. So in this case, since the error is already there.
And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.